Welcome to the party, pals. GRC Mafia. Right out of the gate here, we're here to break down barriers, foster collaboration and community, working towards a more secure future for everybody. Definitely a learning and growing environment. This is our just more casual format, Friday AMA. I'm actually going to go ahead and drop the stage link if anybody would like to come up. You can go ahead and join the green room real quick. Let's go ahead and get that in chat right off the bat. How's everybody's week finishing off? So if you guys would like to come up on stage, you're definitely encouraged to do so. You do not have to turn on your video if you do not prefer to. And then also our Discord server is perfect for, outside of the live streams itself, but then also to drop links for resources and your personal LinkedIn or other social media as well. Also, especially if you do come up, don't share anything that you don't want to be public. If you happen to do so, certainly reach out to me on Discord, LinkedIn, or contact@studygrc.org. We got Future Quest Technologies, we got B-Dubs, 8-Bit, a couple other people popping in chat there too. Bam. And then also you guys may or may not be familiar. B-Dubs' website, britwhite.io. For every single Monday, she publishes a blog related to cybersecurity GRC, but then also every Tuesday and Saturday is the CISSP study group that's currently ongoing as well, and that's completely zero. That's $0 free. Definitely worth checking out. And the really unique thing about that is after the live stream itself on Tuesdays and Saturdays, then everybody piles into the voice chat as well to further discuss the topics and so forth. And then, of course, we have our website as well, studygrc.org, which I finally updated this image for, where you can go to our resources page, and then also we have our contact form, like if you want to submit your redacted resume for the last Thursday of every single month for our job readiness group resume review. And then we also have our calendar as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and get swapped over here and let B-Dubs take the lead now. And I'm going to go hide just in the back room.
Oh, I have to take the lead?
Yeah. You got this. You got this.
Yeah, I got
And
it.
nobody's going to show up now because I didn't put B-Dubs and PBO in the title.
Yeah, I know. Why didn't you do that?
I should have.
You should have. Should have, could have, would have. Too late now.
I don't even know what that means, PBO.
Yeah,
A
they
little
said your
berry what?
8-bit sounds like your voice is sounding a little hoarse. And to make
Oh.
sure you get plenty of water. So I just said it's all the monsters you're drinking. Yep. Me too.
Yeah.
Actually.
That and lots of recording.
Yeah, facts.
If I would have said that when I was working labor and so forth, it would not have meant the same thing as it actually does. Oh, look at that. PBO joining in. Yeah,
Welcome to the party, pal.
I don't even know who Barry White is.
It's a guy with a super deep voice, black guy.
Oh.
Probably from Barry might be from the 70s. It's got like this super deep voice. I knew when I said it, I wouldn't know who it was. They might not even know who the hell it is, but super deep voice.
Oh, come on, 8-bit. Hydrate? Monster's like 80% water anyways, isn't it?
Yeah, we are hydrating.
That's what I used to say about Mountain Dew. Now I got a high H1C, so.
Uh-oh. Well, I do have the zero sugar version, so.
Facts.
I don't think Chris does.
Oh no, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't mess around with the zero sugar stuff.
Yeah, they came out with the green one in a zero sugar. I only drink the zero ultras, so.
I'm good.
Too much sugar, otherwise I can't do all that.
America. So what's up?
It's Friday.
What's up? It is Friday. Saturday Eve.
Oh yeah, that's the CISSP study group tomorrow at what is it, 3 p.m.?
Yep.
Facts.
3 p.m. Central Time, PBO.
Eastern. Whoa. With no R. Whoa.
Yeah, and I've been working hard getting ahead on that one because I will be out at Hack SpaceCon next week. So getting ready for that.
Fancy. What else is there? Did you go through and take a look at Cyber yet, PBO? You're going live later tonight, right?
That is incorrect. That's incorrect.
That is incorrect.
At one point,
that
you
is
were
not
streaming
what you,
3 days a week.
That is not what you said last night, PBO. I was listening.
No. I thought about it.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought about it. Working on my governance, continuing the conversation from last night. So that was a great presentation last night. Governance.
Oh yeah, Chris did a great job.
They did. Chris H, not Chris W. But
oh yeah.
I mean, they both always
assumed that.
They both
my
always
name
do a
doesn't
great
go in
job.
those.
I don't know. Chris W be slipping a little bit. I don't be feeling the energy sometime. I need him to pick it up.
What do you mean he been slipping? Have you checked out the new website?
I'm just talking about presentations, and I need for him to give me more energy. I'm slipping a little bit last night.
We need more energy from you, PBO.
I think I would have gave him a B- yesterday. Yeah, he wouldn't give him. I thought Chris H carried the show last night, so we'll have to.
That was the point. He was this. He was the talker.
Yeah, but you didn't pass the baton very strong though. I don't know. I thought it was the pass was a little weak.
Come on, PBO.
A little weak. Got to stay on Chris. He look like he's slacking a little bit. Shout out to A-Bit. He need to hydrate. I think he needs some hydration in there or something.
Nah.
Hydrate. Hydrate.
If I hydrate, then that might insinuate that I was aware of my condition.
Facts. Oh man, I am dragging today.
Same.
I think I got an hour-long meeting coming up too. I'm like, oh my god, I don't want to do it.
I'm in my hour-long meeting right now.
I have a couple.
Hour-long, as we're here for 4 hours.
4 hours.
Hour-long, yeah.
I
do have quite a bit of things to accomplish today, though. Especially to be out of town for a week and still keep up with everything. So.
Wow. It's a lot going on, B-Dubs.
I'm excited for it though, PBO.
That's cool.
You should come out to Hack SpaceCon.
Where is it at?
Florida.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be out on the beach watching rocket ships.
That sounds interesting.
And 8-bit, the whole problem is that I am so like not socially cultured whatsoever. Like I don't even know actors' names, and I could barely remember movie titles. So yeah.
You going to Hack, not going to movie titles? What's like this saying?
Oh no, 8-bit was asking how I don't know who.
Oh, Barry White is. I think it's more of an age thing. Anybody. I think that's more of an age thing. You know who Tom Cruise is? I mean, you know all the Mission Impossibles, I'm sure. I'm trying to think.
I've heard of Tom Cruise, but yeah.
I'm a Marvel guy, so I see every Marvel movie that comes out. So.
Yeah, this one sounds like Monday's problem, 8-bit.
Facts.
I have a few emails I need to respond to and don't want to. Today's Friday. That's Monday's problem, right?
You wouldn't be, pushing for procrastination there, would you?
Facts.
No.
I was just checking the NIST website itself. They always have something new here, but believe it or not, I mean, nothing that really pops out to me because it's a really long article that's extremely dense about a 5-year-old could understand it versus this is way too confusing blog article. And that's the title for it, which looks very heavy text. And they provided translations for the CSF. So
shout out to Steph.
Yeah, Mandarin, Thai, and Japanese. Welcome to the party, pal.
Hello.
Hello. Shout out to Steph.
you watched Thunderbolt, PBO?
I have not. I'm a big Century fan though, so that's definitely on my list. I had a thing before COVID where I used to go to the movies every Sunday with the old people at like 11:30 a.m. I mean 10:30 a.m. in the morning, and
What do you
nobody
mean
would
with the
be.
old people?
It would.
That's my,
Everybody's over there is like 60, or the moms with the kids sometimes.
that's my favorite time to go to the movies
I don't know, but yeah,
without kids.
Oh, that's my favorite time.
Not with the old people. We go to the movies.
No, I'm with the old people. Yeah, I am the old people. So I used to go see weird type of movies because I would go at it like so. People like go see this. I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. So
I'm gonna have to throw the disclaimer up again, aren't I? I
Yep.
hadn't
Always.
even heard of Thunderbolt before either.
oh yeah.
I thought he was talking about I thought he was making a joke about
the punch.
thunder punches or something.
I had it. It took me a while, but yeah, no, I'm a huge Century fan, so that's gonna be super interesting. I want to see the Void come out, but that's for the nerds out there.
I mean, that's all of us, right?
Now, comic books is a different level of nerddom. Long story short, that's really how I got into computers as a kid. I watched morning cartoons. Everybody had a Super Friends had a supercomputer. Batman had one. Everybody on the TV had a Star Trek. Yeah, so I think that's what reason everybody had a robot.
Yeah, those Saturday morning cartoons were where it's at. They don't even have that anymore.
I know.
It's like cartoons on demand now.
Pinky in the Brain.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, I love Pinky in the Brain.
So I watched the Avengers when they were a comic on a Sunday morning TV. So now they're a movie making $1 billion. So
You confused me, PPO.
For your time.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, I there was something else I was gonna run with that on, but I don't even remember at this point.
We pivoting to governance again.
Into governance?
From last night.
Did you want to talk more about data governance?
I
could talk.
B-Dub's in charge. She running it. He said B-Dub's in charge. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to pick a topic and go with it. Steph, welcome. Steph can throw out a topic. She's just now joining us with the nice eyeshadow going on. Shout out to the eyeshadow.
I think that's a glare on her glasses.
Yes.
Oh shit! I thought she was rocking purple. I apologize. PBO gonna be in HR again.
Oh god.
Wait, now you know if you had bright purple eyeshadow, it would look awesome.
I know. I looked at it. I'm like, I didn't think that was more a step. I'm like, Steph, she's stepping out on a Friday. Something a little different.
Working from
It's
home.
because
Eyeshadow.
It's because they're blue light glasses.
Yeah.
My bad. I know I paused for a minute, but you got to admit it did look like eyeshadow for a minute.
It did.
Steph doing something a little different today.
So I'm sitting in front of a big window too. So the light
Okay.
on my face.
I'm like B-Dubs. If you want to pivot that route, I think it might work for you. It might work for you. Want to pivot that route?
B-Dubs don't do eyeshadow. I use that natural color from lack of sleep.
It'll be something different for B-Dubs if she want to pivot.
Ain't nobody got time for makeup.
I don't want to hurt on anybody's creativity. Shout out to me. I'm very diverse.
You realize now, like next week, I'm gonna have to wear purple eyeshadow, right?
I'm
just because
PBS
comments
here.
here.
I almost said something. I'm gonna have to leave that one alone.
Send it.
Save it for my channel.
And then was gonna be like, should I say it? Should I not?
I'm gonna have to have here. I'm gonna have to pick. Chris, put up my disclaimer.
Yeah. Anything new?
Yeah, so I can finally say it out loud.
You picked a tool.
My company acquired another company, so I've been like super busy with helping with due diligence, and we just announced it on Monday, so we can actually like say it happened. So that's a lot of like, we're both really small and it's only like a few people, but it's still so much work because there's still so many like unknowns even when after the acquisition like finalizes, that you're like, well, we won't really find out what this is going to be like until it actually happens. And so
you should have reached out to me, Steph. I used to work for a company, you can look it up, called Casico. No lie, they used to buy a company every quarter. They due diligence was unbelievable. I mean, they would have IT security room. they would go everything. You got Active Directory, we got this, and they would go through all how it was going to work. I mean, I said it was a butcher paper from the ceiling to the ground, and they just went through every architecture, what they were going to kill. Then I was in the big meeting one day, and they're like, "Yeah, this is how many people we're going to fire from the other company because we're acquiring." I'm like, "Oh, that hurt my heart."
Luckily, it's not like that.
Yeah.
It's just the extra work. I guess it's good for like job security and
Facts.
stuff, but it's pretty busy, and they're like just the using of the different technologies. And so if they're Microsoft and we're Google, and we don't use Microsoft as our main like infrastructure. And so we're like, okay, well, how quickly can we get them like what is that going to look like, when we transition over? So it's a lot of like research and planning, and we have like an implementation plan that we're doing and everything, but I've been pretty absent from being able to like do steady GRC stuff because we've just been it's just been crazy with how busy that's been.
The cool thing when we did it, they used to buy old mainframes. They would announce it on Friday. By the weekend, they would have a mainframe on an 18-wheeler dropping it off, and you think you'd be calling Pennsylvania, you'd be calling Indiana because they got the phones routed, the people moved. It was a sight to see, a major acquisition. But
I thought that's what happens when a company gets shut down by the FBI.
Same thing. So yeah, but then they bid off a company called Green Tree, and they couldn't swallow it, and they end up going out of business. So you got to be careful. It's like, I don't think that
and
acquisition is going to go very well.
Yeah, and like somebody else also says in chat too, like, congratulations, like that's awesome. I mean, definitely a lot of work and so forth, but like you said, there are definitely advantages with that.
Yeah, the company I work for, like it's a product that we're absorbing in because that wouldn't be like its own standalone. I honestly know like so little about what the product actually does because we're in finance with like RIAs and like financial advisors, and I don't know a ton about like what they actually do. And this new tool that we acquired is like a compensation tool for them. And so it's like they did an hour-long demo this week, and it was like, well, okay, I don't know half of what you're even talking about. This does, but this is cool. And so it's gonna be really interesting.
Software?
Yeah, it's software. Like I work for a software company,
that's even
so
better.
it's another product that we purchased that we're bringing on into our company. And so we're looking at, within the next year of.
Just imagine the fire dumpster emoji in Discord right now.
It's not it honestly, like I appreciate like the company I work for is very as transparent as they possibly can be. And so everyone internally knew about the potential of it since it was like happening, but that says a lot about our leadership and how much they trust all of us because you don't want it being leaked to the media before, because even up until the day before, right, it closes, like you don't know if it's actually going to happen or not. Even though it's like highly likely, there's still a percent that they would be like, no, we can't agree to terms, so this isn't going to go through. So it's just, there's a lot of like, oh, we're just sort of like waiting and seeing, and you make a plan and you hope that you can execute it and everything. But yeah, it's I think it'll be good. It's a lot of work, and obviously leadership feels like it's like worth it. And so yeah, I'm stoked. It's just I was doing a lot of onboarding this week, and
Facts.
it'll be interesting to see what their due diligence ends up looking like. We're like getting ready to do like a gap assessment for like a SOC 1, SOC 2 type 1.
Like you mentioned, like there's big pros there.
No, you can't. We don't have enough data we don't have the evidence period to do a type 2 until next year.
Makes sense.
So it'll be like a type 1 to start because we're doing a gap assessment with that so that you don't have to provide the evidence. They just come in and help you assess on like what remediations are there that you need to work on so that you can do a type 2.
Yeah, I would say,
So
because I like to see, but like you said, if you don't have the data, I need evidence, but I definitely understand. And I think really that's a hidden gem because there's a lot of companies buying other companies coming getting bought out. So understanding that due diligence terms, and shout out to Josh CC talking about integrating them, do the gaps, and kind of figure out, like you were talking about, which software you're going to use for each company, which one is better, and like you said, what's going to be your common stack after maybe a year or two. What are you going to kind of? And long story short, Oracle bought 200 companies in 3 years. So they talked about bringing that online and trying to integrate all the stacks. Long story short, they had 3 web servers. You would look at their web server and you can see the other product's name in the config because they haven't changed it yet. So just trying to integrate.
Yeah, and Josh EC is correct. Like the security is going to drive a lot of the changes that are going to happen because we're on totally separate instances, and the absorption and like getting them up to like they are not like they're so small. And there's still stuff that I'm learning about it. And so they don't have the attestations that we have or anything like that. So like getting them up to being on par with us it's gonna be work for sure, and migrating them over to using our tools. And I'm hoping that we don't end up switching to Microsoft because that makes freaking stab.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, as you're just like, yeah, headaches.
And that's one of the big discussions because we bought some companies, they just couldn't move, so we let them run their stack for a little bit until they got comfortable. So it was like now we were running like multiple stacks of stacks. We had a Java stack, a Microsoft stack, and they were doing like NoSQL type stuff. And another company, it was like, and my job was trying to go secure it all. I'm like, this is crazy. This is crazy.
I mean, you have the benefit of it being another small business. At least it's not something bigger.
Sometimes I like bigger because for me, and I think Steph mentioned, they have more mature capabilities and models. So a lot of times when I do a little company, man, they got shit on the desktop. It's like, dude, y'all don't have no pipeline, y'all don't have no standards. I'm like, dude,
on the desktop. That was on Sharpie on sticky notes. Thank you.
No, I wish it was Sharpie, man. They were putting config files on desktops because it was years ago. They were doing client server pushes. It was crazy, man. I'm like, everybody's in the web. They were still pushing out clients. It was like, dude. But that's me on my soapbox, figuring out why I got out of production work.
Well, I mean, that's why I have a whiteboard desktop, right?
Facts. Facts.
So you can write on it.
Yeah. Good luck with
that. Write all my passwords on it, right on the desk.
We got
no sticky notes needed.
Facts. We got faith in Steph, so we know it's going to go well, and it's going to be a great integration between 2 great small companies.
I don't think.
I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, I don't think NIST has a guidance for acquisition.
They do. Yeah. SA, there's service. It's under service acquisition. Look under SA, but I don't think it's at, like Steph said, I don't think it's that level of, when you talk about custom development, I don't think they have that under.
It's mostly just matching our policies and making sure that we can get them to being able to be SOC 2, like type 2, to be able to do that, and how we're going to handle their due diligence and things like that moving forward. And then it's just the merging, the slow, like merging together of 2 standalone companies. You just don't do it instantaneously. It's just not how it happens. We have to migrate some technologies, and you just can't expect that. We have a timeline kind of where we're mapping out to where we expect everything to be, but we're not expecting to be able to do a SOC 2 type 2 until like October of next year. Like the evidence period would start, because you can do like 6 months the first time that you do it. So I think we're looking at like July of 2026 is when we would like want everything to be in place so that we can do the evidence collection period and go through the audit.
I wonder how
Two
does
stock
that
audits
affect?
to do after next year.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Is I wonder how that would affect the business if you already have your SOC 2, this other business doesn't, and you acquire it. Like, there's got to be a grace period, right?
Yeah, so they're separate products, and so basically it's like a lot of good faith things of being like, well, we're not giving them full access to like all of our company resources until XYZ happens, and like we've definitely thought a lot about that because there are certain things that absolutely have to happen before our SOC audit starts, like our site, like our audit officially starts in like July, and then our on-site happens in mid-August. And so before that July period of when it kicks off and we start putting in all of our evidence and everything for the on-site audit is when we have a pretty like solid list of like these things have to happen. And then we've been talking with our auditor too about this. It's not like they don't know, and they do give you like some wiggle room in terms of it is a separate product. It's not
facts.
quite the same, and it doesn't quite have the same compliance restrictions, I don't think, that our primary product has.
Get them NDA signed.
Oh yeah, always.
Yeah, and I like Space Taco's comment here too, in reference to yours on stacks on stacks on stacks. Sounds crazy. Just wishing you that it's as painless as possible.
Thank you.
Yes. Shout out to Cybersecurity there. That Casico Fieldhouse, that's the company I work with. When I was there, our president was the second richest paid CEO in the United States after Bob Eisner of Disney. I think he made $500 million a year. And one of the nerds I worked for, shout out to him, he said that was $15,000 a minute. So when he went to the bathroom, that was about $100,000. So, yep, that is the Casico I worked for. I did data warehousing. I was Oracle DBA there for 5 years.
Doxing yourself, PBO, left and right.
I'm fine, man.
Seriously?
That's fine. Chris, let's see. That probably was 2005. That job might be older than you. The last time I worked there, man. That's probably 20 years ago, 25 years ago. So
I might be young, but I ain't that young. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Cyber I wonder what the DevSecOps wave looked like in those situations. I was somewhere where the AppSec team tripled after acquisition. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good mention. There was one like webinar I listened to where they did have some type of acquisition. I think they got bought out by a bigger company, and so they went from like a team of like 10 people to like a team of 50 like overnight. Like they were just thrown into the teams channels and so forth, and they were like, what the hell are we even here for? And PBO rage quit.
Yeah, he's got mad. He said, I'm out.
You should come up, Space Tacos, Regine, 8-Bit, Josh.
Yeah. Facts.
Yeah, $15K a minute. I'm pretty sure Jeff Bezos with Amazon makes more than that. I'm sure. I would not be surprised whatsoever. Different day. I would say that it's a different day and age these days, but honestly, I think it's just more public now. It's easier to find that information.
I mean, I think Cam needs to get up here.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
No worries being late to the party, pal, but it is an open stage if you want to join us. No pressure or anything like that.
I was going to say, since he was late, he has to come up on stage.
Whoa, that's some heavy peer pressure there.
Yeah. Peer pressure. Called out.
Yeah, and like Steph and PBO were mentioning a moment ago is just the fact that it's not really immediate. Or at least it shouldn't be. It's probably a better way to put it.
Yeah, the full integration isn't. I mean, we have people from their team that joined us as immediately. once it's acquired, they're like officially our like employees. But there's other stuff that there's like so much that just it can't happen right away. You can't just be like, you're gonna move from this to this today.
Oh, come on. Why not keep it interesting?
You just get an
First of
email.
all,
We now own you.
Yeah.
This is your new team.
yeah, I don't know how much they knew about it before it happened. I'm assuming they had to a little bit, at least a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and 8-bit, if possible, if you could schedule out next Thursday night for the meeting, because Cam will be joining us talking about MITRE Atlas, and then we'll be talking more about AI in GRC. One of the things I was looking at is, I don't know if you guys noticed, like a lot of these services are providing more options for AI. And one of the cool things, like I'm probably going to pull it up here, is DigitalOcean now has dedicated AI machines. Like you could deploy your own model. And also they have machines just for training as well. Like I know AWS has that, Azure has it as well, but like it's like a one-click deployment. Like through the interface, you could do this stuff now. It's pretty
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah,
Oh, look at that. Welcome to the party, pal.
I'm
Yeah,
really
that's awesome.
disappointed, and Cam's gonna be mad at me, but I'm gonna have to miss the show on Thursday. I'm disappointed. There's no way I can physically make it because I will be literally in the clouds in an airplane. So
I mean, you could.
I'm just gonna have to preset like an additional AI to just give like constant, one-liner feedback as far as just be like, need some of that attitude, some of that spice, B-dubs. Come on.
yeah, I mean, I do believe that I will have Wi-Fi that will allow me to get like text messages, but that's it.
There you go.
I can't watch YouTube.
So
The nice part is it'll be able to be reviewed, right? Restream.
Like, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I'll be
we'll probably
catching
just
it on-
delay it until her plane lands. We
Oh,
we
okay.
could work
Like
around it, right?
10 o'clock at night. All right.
Just on the flight tracker app, you're like, oh man, it got delayed. Hold on for 15 more minutes.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good point. Yeah, I'm one of those weird people who track my own airplane. So
I do that too, actually. So you're not alone.
yeah, it's pretty neat. Some of you may not know, but yeah, I run one of the ADBS airplane trackers, so it's kind of neat. It's pretty easy to set up too. You just need one of the adapters, a Raspberry Pi, and an antenna. So, and yeah, so I pulled this up on screen. I think I dropped this in chat too. I was just going to mention this because I noticed this yesterday. And so not only can you just easily through their interface deploy any of these models auto-magically now. And then of course they have their, token based pricing for it. But then also they have some of the different guardrail models as well. So then you could go ahead and throw in like a jailbreak detection or content moderation bot in front of that as well. For added protections on top of it. Like it's kind of neat.
Yeah.
So, and honestly, I don't think the pricing is too bad at all. So, not really, especially when you take into account that you can easily deploy these, like one-click deploy these. But then they also have their entire AI suite here too. I think it's over here. And so you could even deploy like pretty powerful agents and so forth just within the interface. So no programming or anything required. You just upload your files all through the interface. Like they've made it pretty seamless. So
Wow.
You're just giving them all your data.
it's just DigitalOcean. What could go wrong?
Absolutely nothing.
Just in the cloud.
Yeah. That's
I'm increasingly
totally secure.
looking at like internal models as being like the best. Even if you pay somebody to build one for you and you just deploy it on your own infrastructure, that's like,
On-prem.
yeah, well, maybe not, but just only available to your
Lock it down.
organization. Yeah, so that you're not having to deal with third-party due diligence with AI, with other, because there's just so, yeah. I don't know.
That
I
is one of the
see.
things you can do with DigitalOcean too. Like when I haven't deployed this yet. I plan on playing with this, but at least with their droplets, you could easily set it up to where only your IP address. You can set up a tunnel or otherwise as well.
I know. I
To
would
kind
just
of lock it down a little bit, but
rather
still,
do it on my own servers so that I don't feel like another company has access to data, I think.
Just like 8-bit, a self-hosting
That's
gangster.
what it says too. Yeah, that's self-hosting. That's, I don't know. That's just the thing to me with privacy and
of course.
data.
And it definitely depends on like your application itself, like what you're doing with it.
Absolutely. It depends on the data and how sensitive or what your concerns are for third parties having access to it.
So like what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play around with this, and I have like 1,400 NIST documents I've downloaded that I'm gonna train it on is my goal, and then I want to get even more material that's open source and publicly available that I can use, and just see how that functions and how that works and so forth. So there is another individual that's out there in the community that runs a thing around GRC that is currently in the process of implementing their own AI chatbot for their courses. Yeah, it's kind of similar to this to some extent. But I didn't realize how easy it was to run your own local stuff in the first place until 8-bit mentioned stuff to me.
Yeah, you all really turned me on, like turned my attention towards that too. I think it's gonna become more and more the thing, you know, like there's a foundation of AI use, and I think it's going to become more and more prevalent, whether it's for privacy reasons or sensitivity reasons, you know, whatever it may be. Organizations just wanting to have it for themselves just because proprietary, you know, reasons. But
100%.
Yeah, well, and then also,
sorry,
go
go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say being able to feel confident that you're able to train something on your own data without it feeling like third parties are spying on you, or that they're somehow going to use it even though they say they don't, or being able to still train a model on it and use it, because that's right, like the only way it's going to get any better is actually letting it learn.
That's my issue with like these commercial models. When we're looking at Gemini and Copilot and Grok, Claude, like even when you disable the training, like how do you actually prove that? Because it also wasn't until recently did we realize the amount of analytical tracking and ability that OpenAI had. So yeah, recently, I forget who it was against, but was it North Korea, I believe? I think it was North Korea. They ended up shutting down like a dozen accounts or something like that they were able to track to North Korea, who was utilizing OpenAI for like building malware and things like that. And they did a whole public release on how we were able to see all of the prompts and everything else and identified these as North Korean threat actors, and we shut the accounts down. So then they publicly disclosed that, hey, yeah, we're looking at everybody's prompts. Like, whether you're on the Plus plan or not, like, we still have access to this information. Just because they're not using it for training data, they say, doesn't mean that, you know, it's not logged and visible and so forth. And I'm sure by now they probably have a really nice customized sim for the whole thing, too.
Yeah, and Gemini, if you pay for Google Workspace, then they're claiming that they're not using your trained data with anyone else and they're not looking at it, but it's supposed to be confined only to your organization. I'm
Yeah.
still not 100% like
Oh yeah.
believe them.
Well, and like you could deploy a Gemini into FedRAMP compliant environment apparently, but again, you still have that in the cloud and
Yep.
everything else. Like
It's still a third-party cloud vendor, so there's still risks.
Yeah.
Like we're still pretty hesitant to let like our guidelines are still like, please don't put in like sensitive financial data from customers or, code or anything like that into Gemini, even though it says that like it's not sharing that data or training it and like letting anybody like Google or anyone else use it. It's confined to your organization. I'm still like, I don't know, like I don't know if I really trust some of these like companies anyway.
Yeah, I think so. 8-Bit joined up here too, and I feel like he would definitely agree, considering he's doing his own self-hosted cloud at this point.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So like I pulled this up for Casa OS because you also introduced me to this, which I think is really neat. But like one of the things I'm scared about for local is because then it's all 100% your responsibility, and it makes it way more difficult to manage too. So
this is very true, but that's kind of where the double-edged sword comes in, right? How much you want to take responsibility on all that. But that's with everything, because I like if somebody wants more security, then there's always a trade-off. How can I put it? But one of the good things is that you really start to learn what it is that you're using on inside and out, rather than just blindly following somebody who's hosting it somewhere else and it's all done for you. It's a trade-off.
what's your thoughts with it, Cam, considering you've been going down the rabbit hole of Atlas?
Yeah, I mean, I just see a lot of value in self-hosting, even to what 8-Bit was talking about, or maybe slightly alluding to. I think that being able to learn, one of the things I'm challenging myself is being able to learn some of the intricacies of the actual LLMs themselves. There's all the talk about like, oh, AI is going to replace jobs and this type of thing. I often use the analogy of like AI is more of the combustion engine revolution than say like the internet revolution, in that it's just going to change the way we work and how we work, but also like what we do when it comes to work. So I see a lot of value from education for all of us, but especially on the security side of things, to understand how these things work and operate. It's interesting, and we'll obviously get into it a little more Thursday, but it's interesting the overlap of, obviously MITRE Atlas is kind of overlapped with the attack framework. And so it's interesting to see how like these are all just specified areas of security for AI, but it all falls under similar categories, similar, umbrellas of security practices that we already have in place, or that we're already trying to achieve. I think that locally or local sourcing is just going to be, like I said before, more and more prevalent, because it's going to allow you to kind of work with it at a more molecular and tangible level than having it somewhere else. So you enter in all, it's just gonna narrow kind of what you have to cover with it too on the security side. But
so I'm the only one here that's going to like have fun deploying out on DigitalOcean here.
One of the things I find interesting though with AI, and I'm curious, because I mean the thing is that, like you said, it's going to become more and more prevalent, and the way I look at things, like I've seen recently some of these mini PCs coming out with some new like Ryzen chips, and they'll have like this dynamic allocation to RAM from regular RAM to VRAM. I don't know if I'm trying to think of the name of this one tablet that came out like a couple months ago, but it was pretty interesting because it can run like 70B models, and it's on like a tablet form factor. And I just keep thinking to myself, like if they're going to start baking this into operating systems, I mean, could you just imagine running a local LLM on your tablet, or it comes baked into the thing, and then you just talk to it and be like, hey, where's this folder? Where's that file? It ends up becoming more of a prevalent tool. And you're like, hey, I need to, you just ask your computer rather than thinking of it something in the cloud or a program that's running or something like that.
Samsung already has that. So they have Bixby, which is the AI on Samsung devices.
Yeah, but it's not exactly the same thing. So like this tablet I'm talking about though has a GPU and the CPU that works together, and then it'll like the maximum RAM that you can put max out on this thing was 128, but you can dynamically allocate up to 96 gigs of RAM and transfers it into VRAM, which then you can run local LLMs like 70B models. And something as early on as that makes me think like, well, in the next 5 years, it's going to be way more powerful than that. Bixby, I know about Bixby, but even then, it still has to communicate somewhere over the internet rather than just be purely local.
Yeah. That just makes me think about power consumption too. So, yeah, having it consuming local resources, obviously, and because it's my thing, and like there are people, someone was talking in the chat, I think Josh EC was about like AI taking jobs, and that is happening and probably will continue to happen. But I think the biggest hurdle for AI is going to be power consumption, especially if it's cloud hosted AI, because that power has to come from somewhere and it's quite power hungry. And as these models continue to develop and get more powerful and can do more things, they're going to require more power. I think I saw that Google is planning on building like, or trying to build 3 new like nuclear power reactors.
I think Google, Microsoft, and Amazon for their AI data centers. It was like some crazy number. Like between the big players, they're looking at like $800 billion into AI data centers in the U.S.
Yep.
And then they're contracting for nuclear power supply just because of how much that takes. And like I saw some weird PBO did a video on the nuclear power facilities that they are going to be utilizing for those data centers. And like the crazy thing is the amount of energy that those things put out. Like we're talking like the amount of power that they're going to need just for these like 8 data centers is going to be able to power multiple states, like entire regions of the U.S. equivalent. It's unimaginable.
Yeah, it's also interesting to think about it. I mean, it's an old lecture, but I listened to like I can't remember if it was like a computer with, I don't remember what it was. Anyway, it was like talking about energy production and like how many, if you equate it to like how many human beings, like if a human being was sitting at like a crank basically and like riding a bicycle, cranking out energy of like how many human bodies like that equates to in energy, and like how many the typical person consumes on like the average person, like energy consumption per day it's pretty, if you look it up, it's pretty astonishing sort of. And I'm sure it's gone up with the amount of cloud computing that we're doing. So that energy is going to come from somewhere.
Just real quick too, I dropped in a link to the tablet I was referring to. It was the Rogflow Z13, and basically it has the AI Max 395 processor, which is 16 core, 32 threads. The GPU goes along with it is the 8060S, and you can get that up to 128 gigs of memory on that, which again can run 70 billion the 70B models. And it's a tablet, and the power consumption is amazing on it. Now, it's not going to be doing like huge amounts of power because I mean, if you're training a model, obviously it's going to consume a lot more power. But this is just to run a model, right? And that right there can do it so easily. I mean, it'll run way more than what I can do. But anyway, in the software, what's interesting about that is that again, you can dynamically allocate the RAM where you need it, whether it's to the system or whether it's to the GPU. And so I found that tablet to be extremely interesting, and where AI might be going into the future and running
Copilot
and kind of having AI baked into the system itself running locally rather than having to continuously rely on the internet or a cloud-based of everything else.
Yeah, and like it says right here, 40 GPU compute units. So GPU heavy. But like one of my issues with this though, and like we were talking about, is the power consumption. So like there's an app here that I found that's open source. What the hell is the name of this thing? It's called Pocket Pal. It's an open source Android or iOS app. And it allows you to run local AI like Llama and so forth, or any of the models from Hugging Face on your mobile device. And like even the 1 billion model for Llama like eats through your battery life. Like really, like you could see your battery dropping. My device is like less than a year old, and the 24 Ultra Samsung, and like it just eats through the power. So like
yeah, and it will.
For this to be on mobile, like I don't know. But you had also mentioned like running like the local 70 billion model and so forth. Like with me testing out with some of these local models, I don't think I would ever need that, to be honest with you. Like the 8 billion Llama model is more than enough for my purposes.
Oh yeah, 100%. I
It's a
mean,
gaming laptop.
even 14B, 8B, 14B for most users is more than enough. But I mean, that's where I'm getting at. Is like something as small as this, with the power footprint that it has, and running a 70B. That's pretty amazing. Now imagine if you can think of it in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're called, by the way, if you're interested, I just think it's really fascinating. The term is energy slave, and it's the quantity of energy, the ability to do work, which is used to construct and drive non-human infrastructure. It's just sort of interesting. I don't know. But that just continues to go up.
I mean, this definitely looks pretty though.
The laptop is lovely.
Yeah, the price goes along with it too.
$25 million laptop.
Yeah, I'm sure that's at the bottom of this page somewhere.
I think that one goes for like $4,000 or $5,000.
Oh my gosh.
But what's interesting though is with the same chipset and the same configuration, there are some other companies starting to make headless mini PCs with the same technology, and they're a lot more decently priced. Like Minisforum, I think, is doing it, and a few Geekdom is doing it, and they're closer around 2,000, 2,500. So of course you don't get the luxury of taking it everywhere with you, or a keyboard, or a monitor, but it's certainly interesting.
It's a 2-in-1. It looks like it runs about 2,200 to $3,000.
Well,
I think that's
like
on
the
the low
size
end.
factor for that, I couldn't imagine that thing to be very good on the battery life.
No, but I mean, you probably want to plug it in on certain times, and then, probably on lighter loads, you probably then can take it with you. But I mean, that's the same thing. Like if you have a gaming laptop, right? You're not going to be the thing's going to be sitting you're going to be next to a power outlet most of the time.
Yeah, my gaming laptop lasts about 2 hours, maybe.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Yeah. Like
when mine
we're
was
looking at like 45 minutes.
When mine was working, it didn't last maybe 30 minutes, and it had to have a fan.
Yeah, that too. The fan is running like loud.
Yeah. No, it had to have like a fan that I bought on Amazon for it to sit on because it was over so bad. But I got that one in 2020, so it's older.
Yeah.
Doesn't have all this cool new technology in it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, like you see the small form factor of that machine there with the ability that it has, that's pretty amazing. That's what I say. Like, imagine 5 more years, a lot of these things will be baked in. I mean, already they're trying to integrate a lot more technology with MPU on CPUs, and when you integrate MPU with a GPU and you have unified memory that works like that, that's really interesting configuration going forward.
Yeah, and especially with how big AI is not going anywhere for sure. Like I kind of laugh because like 4 or 5 years ago, people were like, "Oh, it's just a phase. It's just technology and so forth, it's just going to get phased out. It's just a thing, a fling in the technology sector. Yeah, it's just going to get bigger and bigger. I mentioned this the other day for the generative AI, and this is a whole boot camp for free. You could just watch the videos or register for it. I dropped a link in chat. I do hope to go through this, but this gives you like step-by-steps on local deployment in multiple different ways and working with AI. So I like, this seems to be a really good intro course to that whole world.
Yeah, I have to say this is one of the biggest hurdles when you're trying to go ahead and self-host AI, and that's like what you should use, or how you should interact with it. Whether you're using Python, LangChain, I see Jupyter notebooks there. How you gonna? I mean, there's so many options that's just not streamlined, and so that's another thing too, is to be careful, is to don't get overwhelmed. I look at it like when I first got into using Linux. Just you start with your distro hopping, and then you figure out what works for you eventually. And that's kind of the same thing happening here, is that there's so many tools. Finding a place to begin, it can be really tough and hard. But if you just try different things and different tools, eventually you're going to find something that works.
I mean, I just installed LM Studio and it works fine for my purposes. So
Yeah. Some people, there's a lot of people that love using LM Studio. I know some people that are using LangChain. Some people are using the Juniper notebooks to with Python. Some people are using PyTorch. There's other ones like Mist. But what I'm basically saying is that there's so many tools out there, and they're all great.
have you got to the local AI yet, B-dubs? Now that you got your Mac Mini?
Yeah, not yet. No, I've been busy all week trying to get caught up and get ready to be behind again because I'm leaving town. But yeah, on my to-do list is to figure out this. My mind's blanking it. What is it? The Apple Intelligence. That's supposedly local on this Mac Mini. So I want to investigate that as well as some of the other local stuff. It's on the to-do list on my backlog.
Apple
Man.
Private Cloud isn't terrible.
Apple
As long
Private
as
Cloud.
Yeah, that's what their privacy infrastructure is, to keep your data
Okay.
secure.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Apple Intelligence. I haven't even looked at it. I just know it comes on my computer and it's supposed to be local. But I mean,
it is to an extent.
Yeah, right.
Obviously, if you're wanting to look up things that are on the internet, then it's gonna connect to the internet. But if it's like writing suggestions and things like that, I'm a self-hating Mac admin. Like, I hate Apple. I don't use it personally, but our work, we're all completely Apple.
Oh, I'm with you there.
I know like more about it. I have an iPad that I got as a gift but I would never purchase Apple. Like, people keep telling me I'll change my mind, and it's been like 20 years, and I'm
I was an Apple user for like 10 years or something, but literally my MacBook Pro was a 2009 model. So I don't know any of this new technology with Apple. And then like apparently the Apple Intelligence is in the iPhones now, but my iPhone isn't new enough to have that. So I really don't know anything about it. I've got to learn and see if I can use it or see if I want to shut it down.
Yeah, and you can, like, we restrict it. We don't allow Apple Intelligence.
Like, I have it turned off right now, but
it's funny, I'll turn it on by default though after updates and stuff. So you have to kind of continuously monitor to make sure that it's not on, that they're not turning it back on. But I would look at Apple Private Cloud Compute is a good resource, because that'll give you a lot of. I can send you some links too if you want.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm pulling it up now.
It's a lot to read because
that's what Grok is for.
privacy. And there
good.
are things about Apple that I'm like, okay, this isn't so bad, or like, it's not that I hate the computer itself. It's just I don't like the proprietariness of
Yeah.
Apple.
I'm with you on that. You know, that's my biggest complaint is Apple's walled garden. You
Yes.
know,
Hmm.
and I've ran into too many problems where they just don't like to play nice with others.
It's gotten a little bit better, but like I went back when I was teaching in the early 2000s, we were like a Mac school, and I had one of those. Do you remember those like flip video recorders? It
Yes.
was like before phones. And so I recorded a bunch of stuff on it, and then I tried to edit it on my computer at work and was like, why can't I edit this? And it's because it's an AVI file, and Apple iMovie, you can't. They even have their own file formats. Like it's just so ridiculous. Like it's just like, can't you
Yeah.
just
So
make it
I
so that you don't have to use all Apple products? Come on.
yeah.
Like,
So I'm not a fan of that. I was a fan of the price of this Apple Mini Mac, based on the, RAM and storage and everything that I could get for it.
yeah.
And it just works. Most of everything that I do is browser based, anyways. I'll use the applications, but there is a browser option if it's not compatible with Mac. So for my laptop, for traveling and whatnot, it's still Windows. So I'm very often using both. Not
Yeah.
gonna convert
I'm
full
like
for
throw shade
sure.
at you for using Apple.
You know,
Do
though, I
what?
mean,
And they have like there are benefits of doing
Yeah.
it for sure. And
and
I get,
Well,
I get why people like it. And I feel like you're really either in the camp where you're like camp Apple or you're like camp anything else, please.
yeah, well, and since I have an iPhone, I really like, the compatibility
Yeah.
between the two.
Yep.
So one of my biggest issues with my other mini PC, which was like, it was my backup computer. It was like a $200 or $300 mini PC from Amazon. Nothing special at all. That's what I was using for the first a lot of months at the beginning of this year. My AirPods would just, they either wouldn't connect or they would be connected and then they'd suddenly drop. And it was
So you
a
just buy an Apple
pain.
device.
So yeah, so now that I have an Apple though, it's really cool because when I first set it up, I didn't even have to connect my AirPods. It was just like instantaneously automatic. And now if I like pick up my phone and it has audio, it
Someone else will be-
switches. I'm like,
They totally
what
got
is
you.
this? They got me.
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah, they totally got you. They're like, oh yeah, we're just gonna make it a pain for it to work on other devices, and they'll have
Yeah.
no option but buy the rest of our devices.
And yes, I do realize I could get other earbuds.
And
But I like my AirPods, and that is not the reason I went with Apple. It's just a benefit. So
and from like a corporate environment, it's interesting because if you actually do cost breakdowns, Macs are actually they're more expensive up front, but they're actually less expensive to upkeep throughout the lifetime of them.
they last longer.
They do.
To an extent.
To an extent only because Apple
Well,
only because they have to, it drives me nuts that they release a new operating system version every year.
That's what I was gonna say. They last.
Something that I'm gonna end up regretting, so I'm not gonna say it.
you see, though, this is the type of trade-offs I was kind of alluding to earlier. You know, especially when you were talking about AI and stuff, where it depends on how easy you want things, right? One of the biggest complaints that people have about Apple is the walled garden, but they're very easy. It makes it, very just streamlined for a lot of people. Windows is kind of that middle ground, right? But then you have the extreme opposite end, which is Linux, which I always tell people about. And it's like you're doing things yourself. You have to go ahead and maintain it yourself. You have to know what you're doing a little bit, and unfortunately, when it comes to Linux, and I'm a big Linux fan, but what keeps scaring people away from Linux is the fact that you have too many choices. That's why people go distro hopping, and the thing is, it's like I always found it funny, like that, because I have like maybe 300, 400 different video games at home, and my kids pretty much took it over. But I'll never forget when my son, it was game day, and I'm like, okay, what game do you want to play? He's looking around, he's just staring at it. He goes, I don't know, where to start. I'm like, just pick one, start somewhere, and that's the problem when people have options, too many options, is that then it freezes them in place, and then they get scared about it, rather than just diving in. So I mean, it's just that yeah, Mac does has its place, and they are really good for certain things. It just depends on how far you want to go, or how just maybe you just don't want to think about it at
Well,
all.
well, and there's a couple things I want to add here too. So like, Josh mentions Apple lasts forever. Well, so does a PC as well. One of the biggest differences is like Apple has a 7-year cycle for their updates. So after your device is 7 years old or older, you won't get security updates. You're not guaranteed that anymore.
Correct.
That's one of the biggest issues I see with that.
Yes.
Like,
So-
didn't they like just end support for Vista or something? Or Windows 10?
It's Ventura is coming up at the end of 2025.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
only maintain 3 OSs at a time. So Ventura sunsets at the end of 2025. I know because
Yeah.
Yeah, see, in my experience, Mac lasts longer than the updates, but Windows does not last as long. So like that
Without the-
2009 MacBook that I said I have, I still have it and it still works. I will not connect it to the internet though. It is so out of date. It is
Well,
a
and, like,
toy.
Well, and like you guys also mentioned, like how it's a closed off network and software and so forth. And like we see over there in the EU where they're now removing the encryption for the cloud backups. And that's one of the other requirements of an Apple device is a cloud account. You have to make an Apple account.
You
And
don't
To
don't
be
have
fair,
to.
Windows is going that route.
We
too.
don't
They're
do
trying
we
to
don't do
design-
I sorry.
No, go ahead.
We don't do iCloud. Like we could do managed, things, but we don't allow people to log in. So you don't have to, but if you want the real benefits, like especially as a personal user, to like connect your iPhone to sync everything up, then yes, you do have to have. And I
And-
don't want that either. And if you forget your password, you're so screwed. It's
Oh,
so
yeah.
hard to
yeah.
recover.
So, and I want to throw out there too, Google is the same way because I got the Logitech G Cloud. It's like that gaming thing for my kiddo, and it's based on Google. It's like I don't remember what it was, but it runs off the Google Play Store. So to get updates, you have to have a Google account, which
Chrome
my
OS.
child did not have a Google account. So I had to create one so that he could get updates.
Yeah. it's
yeah,
with Windows.
and unlike
Yeah, I had to do
Apple, I
that
think
with
it's
my
great
son.
for business or otherwise because it is straightforward and easy to jump into and so forth. But also, I would push back on you too, 8-bit, on people being confused about Linux. I think the main issue with Linux isn't that, oh, you have all these options available because you have the same thing on both operating systems. I think the primary barrier is people setting it up. Not
Yeah.
enough
Yeah,
devices
yeah.
are coming with Linux. And like
Well,
there's
that's-
not a clear distinction on like why would I use Linux over Windows? Most of the
That-
users I know, they just use the browser anyways. So like I've set up Linux for people and they have absolutely zero issues with it, but all they use is the browser.
That's fair. And if you're just gonna go with something like Ubuntu and then just set up a browser, yeah, I can definitely understand that. I'm talking more like if you want to, because I mean one of the things about Linux though that people do get confused about, in my opinion, is updating Linux. A lot of times you have to go to the command line. You have to use the command. Like if you really actually want to use Linux, you have to be proficient in the command line.
Mhm.
But that being said, though, if you're just going to web browse all day, that's fine. And there's been updates like Ubuntu where they actually streamline the updates more. I'm kind of backtracking there a little bit, but you're
Their
right.
package manager is horrid still.
It is, but that's the reason why I always do everything through a command line. But if you actually want to actually learn the system, sometimes people go deeper and then they get scared away because they see a whole bunch of things that's there. A perfect example is that if you look at Ubuntu and GNOME, people don't quite understand that GNOME is referring to the desktop and the desktop interface, and that then you have options and then you can change all that. And and they do have marketing issues.
Marketing issues.
yeah.
Deficit.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's the primary issue I see is that like it's too much of a barrier for people. Like, oh, I bought this device. Why am I going to go through the trouble of installing Linux when it just works? Like that's
True.
it, and it's so frustrating to me because also like now Windows is now requiring you to make an account they had the loophole, but on the latest Windows versions, the loophole doesn't exist anymore. So during that setup process, you can't bypass the login anymore, which is like even worse.
Oh, you mean for
and
Windows?
yes,
Oh
for
no,
Windows,
you
you have
can.
to sign in now.
No, you can bypass it still. Yeah,
Not
you
Windows
can.
11.
Yes, Windows 11. I actually helped somebody set it up like 2 days ago. You can still bypass it, create a local account. Yes. You would have to go ahead and open up a command line to do that, and then you would have to put in
The
like 2 commands.
OOBE
Yeah,
bypass. Yeah,
yep.
in the latest patch updates, they removed that.
No, it still works. I mean, like I said, 2 days ago.
I would double check that computer and see if it's on the latest, because like that was a whole thing with the new. I think it's 24H2.
Yeah.
Is Windows was purposely removing that.
Yeah.
Because so many people were doing that.
I could double check it again, but yeah, I mean, a couple of days ago, I helped somebody else set that up, and I got them up and running without any issues. So I mean, but but I do know there was a video. I want to say about a month ago, and they talked about that same issue that you're talking about, and he was also still able to bypass it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're making it harder. I will admit that they are making it harder to do, and it's kind of ridiculous. But yeah.
I think it would be neat if there was more options for Linux machines, but it is what it is. I think the average user would be just fine on Linux. Like you even have Steam now and so forth that's like heavily pushing on it because of this, what is it? Steam OS that's running off of Linux now. And all kinds of different stuff. But, you know, we'll probably start bringing this to an end here in a minute. Stephen's like, I have work to do. But yeah, this is also stuff that we could also pick up at the meeting next week as well for AI, on the AI side of it. I know there's still some more comments here regarding that. So like LLMs make that learning curve a bit easier. Kids are going to be better at LLM prompting and Google dorking.
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
I mean, it's becoming second nature to them. I mean, like, some of the first stuff I was learning was like HTML and CSS and JavaScript, but nowadays, like, they're just going straight to generative AI for all of that kind of stuff. They're skipping over it.
I just heard like a day or two ago too that Google's search engine is actually the traffic has actually gone down because people are going more toward AI now to do their searches.
I don't know how I feel about that, but yeah. There was a recent webinar. I just watched a webinar like yesterday about it because I'll find it and drop it in Discord. And it was really interesting because they were talking about how that exact topic on how people are going to Perplexity, they're going to Gemini, they're going to ChatGPT for Google searching, basically for search engines. And they did this entire study on like over 5,000 different participants. And they basically went through and they were like, hey, you know, if you sign up for this survey thing, we just want to double check your prompts or whatever else. And the responses that you've received on your searches in order to compare them and do this study. And like it was like 25% of it, a fourth of them had hallucinations. Like, and so the big key thing is that it's not that AI has gotten better, actually. So what they've positioned is that it's not that AI has gotten less hallucinations. It's the fact that it's gotten better at lying about them. They make it more believable, and that's the huge problem right now, is that it's still hallucinating a lot. It's just it's better at lying to you, which is so much more worrisome.
It is. I'll admit to that because AI is definitely wrong quite often.
Well, and there was a recent chat in our Discord server about like Perplexity, for an example, and I think I included that section in there because like I've used Perplexity recently. I used it quite a bit like a year ago, And like I stopped using it because of the hallucinations. It does citations, but if you click on the citation and open up that website, you could like one out of like all the time it was just not correct. It would provide a citation, but the summary that it would provide for it would be completely off base. And I was like, yeah, this is not beneficial at all. But yeah, that's a whole thing to jump into.
Yeah.
PBO, any final remarks? You taking your nap? PBO's probably muted. Oh no, he can hear me.
I can.
He's working.
I was a little bit. I got summoned for a minute. I'm back.
Fired. What time do you go live tonight?
That would be zero.
9 p.m. Eastern.
No.
Sounds good. We'll be there.
It's
We'll be,
Friday. I'll go do something.
B-dubs tomorrow at the training.
Get away from the screen.
Speaking of, I think we're gonna go see that Thunderbolts movie.
Good. At least I'll go look at
Since
a
that
bit.
got
Shout out to
since
Century.
that got brought up.
Yep. Shout out to Century.
B-dubs, last remarks?
I don't know. Everybody have a great weekend. If you're coming to Hack SpaceCon, send me a message. Let's meet up. And then, yeah, I think I'm going to talk about AI in my blog on Monday too. So it's been kind of the talk of the week, I feel like. Exactly.
What is happening?
What is happening?
That, but also Space Tacos comment.
Oh, PBO was off
PBO
for
was off.
punching people. Yeah, he was
Facts.
summoned.
He was summoned to go throw a punch.
Throw a punch.
8-bit final remarks. I hope you're able to attend next week.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my best to attend next week because I definitely want to get in on that. I personally have neglected my AI the last week or two. I kind of been focused more on try hack me the last week. I've been trying to get in as much as that as possible because
Slacker.
yeah, I know, right? I finally got up to like Diamond League on that, and so like I want to try to crush that. And so if I don't keep up on that, they demote you on that. So I'm just like, oh, I need to do more rooms. So, but I need to get back to my AI and then focus on that a little bit more. It's definitely an area that I'm very, very interested in. So.
Yeah, I was checking my glasses too. So
They do have purple.
yeah, so these are the ones I typically wear, and they have the blue light blocking. They're the computer glasses, and then these are anti-reflective, which is why I wear these because the lights don't glare as badly.
Yeah, maybe I need to get anti-reflective ones next time.
I would-
with blue light.
I would show mine, but they are downstairs. I was just looking for them. They have blue light, but they're also anti-reflective. And funny enough, they have blue light, but I don't wear them at the computer because
I can't see if I don't wear my glasses.
I can
my
see
case.
close up. I wear them when I leave the house because I can't see super far away. And I'm slightly OCD about that. I can see good enough. I don't have to have them, but I'm just, yeah.
I think I'm in the same boat as you. I got blue light glasses, but the only time I ever wear my actual glasses if I'm outside the house and driving because I can't see very far either. My wife used to make fun of me before I got glasses because I couldn't see the street signs. And so I would just squint. And she's like, "What do you get glasses?" I'm like, "I don't need them."
Actually, I had LASIK, and that was me before LASIK. So me wearing glasses now is just because I'm OCD, and it's kind of gone downhill a little bit. But
yeah, no, I finally caved in, and the pair, oddly enough, funny enough, the pair of glasses I got, they're pretty nice. I got them from Thailand, so I like them. So I mean, but I'll just wear them when I go out of the house. Otherwise, I keep them off most of the time. Actually, sometimes people at the office don't realize I wear glasses until I leave.
I wish I would have waited a little bit longer, and then I could have blamed NIST docs for having to wear glasses. But
yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, if you catch me outside of my house in public, I'll probably be wearing glasses unless I'm already tired of them. Because I get mad at them. Take them off.
Same.
Yeah, I did not require glasses until I started spending more time at the computer because I started getting headaches and so forth. Thankfully, my vision isn't that horrible, but it's still blurry enough to where, who needs to read a street sign from a block away? That's not important,
I
right?
used to think that way. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah,
I had eye test when you get your driver's license again.
Yeah, I had really bad vision. It was bad enough to warrant spending money on LASIK. But I started wearing glasses like, I don't know, however old you are in second grade. Yeah.
I started wearing glasses like 14, I think.
Yeah, I was a lot.
I would love to get LASIK.
Like half that age.
I went to like Southeast Asia a year ago, and my friend was like, "You should get LASIK while you're out here," and I was like, "I don't really want to do that." Well, I'm there on vacation. It doesn't sound like very much fun, but it's like a third of the cost there than it is in the U.S. So
yeah, that's a new trend. That's a new trend. Medical vacations.
I know. I think I might have to spend. It'd be worth spending. Well, with the ticket, it's like half as much.
Yeah, I know a lot of people get dental work done in Turkey, which I think is crazy, but
that's crazy.
Over in Vietnam, it's like $1,300 or something. You go to like a French hospital. My friend did it, and she wore glasses forever, and she's like, "It's amazing." But I'm at the age where I'm waiting for to need readers, and then I'm gonna get.
That's
my mom got it, and she like doesn't even have to wear glasses, and she's like in her 60s. So
since my wife's from Thailand, I can't see. Since my wife's from Thailand, I should probably get some of that stuff done in Thailand, since they'll actually know where to go.
Yeah.
But if I were to go to a country blinded like that, no, thank you.
That's kind of scary.
I don't like the idea of a laser in my eye.
I don't either. I have to take like, they'll have to give me like Valium or something, because I can barely keep my eyes open when they shine the light in my eyes during like an eye exam. Like the idea.
And you're awake.
I know, I can't.
It's you're awake. Yeah. And even better, at least where I had.
I was like, no.
What I always think about is like the horror movies where like there's a needle about to go in the eye. That's what I always think of.
Oh, I can't do the eyes, but yeah, even better, the place where I had my surgery at, in the waiting room, they show a big screen TV of the next person. Thank goodness it was like a snow day in Texas or something. Like we barely made it there. The highways were all frozen over and whatnot, but I was the first one, because if I had watched someone else, I probably would have chickened out. But yeah, it was so worth the money for sure. Yeah. Even though I can't see perfectly, I can see almost perfectly.
Final remarks, Steph?
Oh, everybody try to get outside or something this weekend. Get away from your computer.
Don't tell me what to do.
Go touch grass.
Just like, okay, well, go stare at a different screen then. Like, you want to stare at the big, the medium, or the small screen?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like super nice here. So like, I want to get outside, and also we're gonna work on our bathroom remodel.
All I heard her say is just take my tablet outside.
Right? Yeah. Go outside to the park and watch a movie.
Go outside with your tablet.
Yeah, that's actually one of the biggest things that I like, is that now the weather's actually nice enough. So yeah,
get outside. It's the time of year.
I don't even have much of an excuse, because like we have like legitimate hiking trails like 20 minutes away. So yeah,
I live in a beautiful place. It's beautiful today.
Yeah,
I might go sit outside and do some work.
Do it. Even if you're still looking at a screen, that sunlight is just refreshing.
Yeah. Before it becomes like unbearable, because it's like high altitude sunlight, so it actually like burns your skin.
Yikes.
Yeah, we're at like 4,800 feet or something like that, so it's like,
oh man.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and bring this to an end. But yeah, thank you all for jumping in and attending. We went like 30 minutes over. Jeez, B-Dubs, what kind of show are you running here?
I'm not in charge.
No one is.
We'll see about that.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you guys for hopping up on the panel here in the studio. Thank you to everybody joining us in chat. Have a great weekend. Finish off the day strong. We're almost there. GRC Mafia. I'll catch you guys in Discord and see